So yeah, it's been a rough couple of months. I had to take this old girl apart because I was leaking oil. And this has happened to me a couple of times. It happened on this side over here. I get these O-rings inside there and they start to leak after a while. I've replaced them a couple of times, and I did it again this year. Only this year, when I was putting the top end back together again, I broke one of my cam bearing caps. So I contacted a buddy out of Cambridge, and he had this head over here. As you can see, there's one bearing cap that's missing. That's the bearing cap that's now on my bike. And I attempted to put this head, which is off of a 750, Suzuki GS 750, onto my bike. Now, most people would think that, from what I understand, these things are interchangeable. You can put 750 heads on 850s. This is an 850. Or you can put 850 heads on 750s. You can put 1,000 heads on 850s. You can interchange the cams. From what I understand, that is the case. Problem being that when I stuck that head on my bike, I put the cams back on again and I tightened everything down, I could not turn the crank. It just would not budge, and I couldn't understand what was going on. And I thought at first that my chain was binding. So I spent tons of time trying to arrange and take out the chain guide, put the chain guide back in, trying to figure out whether I had it in the right spot. I went online, looked at some forums, and people said there's only one place where that thing can go. I didn't ever know whether I had it in the right place. But finally, one day I'm sitting here, and I'm trying to figure out why every time I tighten down those cams with that head over there, I can't turn the crank. And then it dawned on me, what if those caps are acting like clamps? And what if my cams that are not matched with that head are just a slight bit bigger than the journals on that head? So in order to test that hypothesis, I loosened the cam caps just a bit tighter than finger tight. I tried to turn the crank, and I could turn the crank. So I realized at that point that my cam caps, when I tightened them down, were actually acting as clamps and holding my cams in place. So what I did, I don't know why I didn't do this when I first did all this, would have saved me at least a month and a half of time. But again, as a do-it-yourselfer, you live and learn. I put my old head back on, and I just took the cam cap from that head, from my buddy Warren in Cambridge. And I put it on my head, tightened everything down, and it worked fine. I could turn everything. And then I ran into other problems as I was putting it back together. I broke the housing off for the tachometers. You can see I have the housing. I'm going to attempt to use some JB Weld to put it back on, but that was a problem. And so right now I don't have a tack. But tonight, and then the other night I went to try to start it, and I could not get it to start. So I fooled around with the points. Not an expert with the points, but I fooled around with the points. I re-gapped them. I statically timed it, and lo and behold, tonight, after I put the exhaust back on it, I put the tank back on, I got the gas hooked up and did all of that. You got to check this out. Music to my ears. So it's almost July the 1st. It's coming up, and it looks like I'm going to be riding this year. Nothing better than hearing the sound of that old 850. my story.